I am Ann-Peggy Divine. Welcome to the Divine Design, the podcast where we unfold heaven on earth and reframe spirituality and theology for a new cosmic era. Your journey on human evolution and integration of your divine design starts here. Now, before you jump into this episode, if this conversation resonates with you, please like, subscribe, and share this with whoever you feel that needs to hear it. Together, your support helps us sustain this work, bringing transformational wisdom into the world and nurturing the awakening of our shared foundation, Mother Earth. Thank you very much. Plasma is not a substance that emerged after matter. It is the state that has always existed between the invisible and the visible. It is the bridge between potential and form. And it is here that the deepest architecture of human beings is now beginning to awake. Welcome to this first episode of Divine Design Podcast 2026. And I am guided to do it by myself, to set the state, to set the intention for 2026. And the intention for 2026, as I see it, and I hear that a lot of others is speaking about the same in their terms, is how do we live as the new human? How do we live as Homo Luminous? And this has very many labels and many names. Someone call it to live from Christ consciousness, not as a religion, but as a 0 point. And when I have reflected about Homo Luminous and being this new human, I actually have had glimpses of this throughout my whole life. And I didn't know that this would lead up to Homo Luminous. But when I was a child and in my childhood, I witnessed people in their bigness, in their Homo Luminous. And someone thought it was amazing, and other one didn't like it because it also shed light on their shadow side. And I will also give an example of this, because if we had cut our hair, if we had new makeup, if we had new clothes, if we have lost a lot of kilos, this is kind of the external. And people said to me, do you see the change in me? And I couldn't see the change in them. And someone was frustrated that I didn't see the outer change. And that is because I saw them straight to their eyes and went right to their soul, their bigness. And their bigness doesn't wear clothes. It doesn't have less kilos. So it is irrelevant. So when people ask me, do you see the change in me? Very often I couldn't, because I saw the soul from the first. It's like I go straight into the eyes. And someone like it because they are really seen. And other feel like the light is too bright. So when I go back to my life, I say that, this was the gift that I was supposed to bring to earth. And I also was supposed to be programmed with the old consciousness, that being afraid, with a lot of sickness, a lot of habitat diseases, so that I could understand it. And I have been a lot in hell, as I have spoken about before. And in this podcast, I will give you an activation. So in the end of this podcast, I will give you an activation, and I will go deeper into it in the end of it. And when I started to go into this podcast, it was shown me that I should reveal the latest book that came through me. It wasn't in the ordinary form, because I have written the Health Bible, and I used 6 years because I wanted you to be in the old way, a lot of references, and it has to be scientifically that we need to prove it. It has to be proven. So I have a lot of proof in that book This book is an activation of Homo Luminous. It is from the future, and it says how we will see a lot of the element and how we will see the human body in a new way, Cosmo in a new way. And what it introduced, it is plasma, and it introduced field, because we see ourselves as field more than identity. And it also go into a lot of cosmic understanding, the water, and also what is consciousness, because consciousness, I think it's thousands, maybe millions of concept of consciousness. And consciousness, we think of it as only thoughts and emotion and the individuality, but it is so much bigger. So it actually 9 chapter just about consciousness and how it's related to water, plasma, light, and all this. So this book, I will read the foreword in this book, and I will also read 1 chapter. And the chapter I will read has to do with plasma. And it is because through plasma we will understand Homo Luminous better. Because when we go to the universe, 99.99999 of matter in the universe is plasma. So it's like almost everything. And the concept of plasma, when we understand plasma more, we have plasma around our, the auric field is plasma. And when I have worked with people that is in a detox, actually what happened, they released plasma from the body. And we haven't spoken so much about plasma in our body. We have spoken about blood. The blood is kind of 55% of the blood is kind of plasma. But a lot of the stuff in our body is plasma. Plasma is the intermediary between the unseen and the seen. So when we understand plasma, and plasma is actually it can activate electricity big time. I could go very deep into plasma, and I will do it when I read 1 chapter of this new book. And the new book, when it came to me, I talk about this book because this relates to Homo Luminous, because I have said yes to Homo Luminous. So the book came through me, as I say. I birthed it, and it was in my language. So it came in the Norwegian language. It didn't came in the English language. So just before this podcast, I took the foreword and also 1 chapter in English. And I will prepare this book in English now these coming days. And I will read it slowly, even though my English isn't the best and I don't read all the words correctly. I will try to read it slowly, so that, because I myself is like, wow, I know that I am good to birth. I'm a natural birth machine, kind of. I love birthing children. I know that sounds crazy for someone, but every time I birthed my 5 children, I was like, I loved birthing. Even though, yes, it is pain, but I'm also good at pain. And I have birthed ideas, I have birthing something. It is a new way of doing things. Instead of striving, we can birth. And it is Homo Luminous bring things into the world through birthing. So this book is birthed through me, with my higher self and with the cosmos, and it came through me. It wasn't planned. So I was just in my zone. And I have started to speak about my zone or my source as monad. And monad is also the same as divine design, and it's also the same as source, the same as God. It has so many labels. So Homo Luminous, it is living from the 5-dimensional reality. And when you live from the 5-dimensional reality, you see the structure behind. As I said, me seeing behind the physical, you see the structure. When I see the stars and aurora borealis, I don't see, if I go first to the stars, I just don't see kind of a light on the sky. I see the myriad of stars and all the kind of mycelium network and the communication. And I have a communication. I talk with the stars. And I also, this was the stars and the northern, the aurora borealis and the moon, and actually it activated me. And the guidance was, this has to be because this is an activation of Homo Luminous. So it was actually me being out on a night activating, and just the book came through me. And I have heard about others that said it just come through me, and I understand it in a bigger layer, because I see that when thing comes through me, it is not a pre-planned only from because we have learned it from society. It has no agenda. That's the word I was looking for. It has no agenda. It comes in purity. So when we live as Homo Luminous, we don't have agenda. Not agenda in the way that we have lived with, like a pre-programmed agenda. We need so much money, we need like this, we need like that. So all the children that are birthed as Homo Luminous, the new children, they come with no agenda. The only agenda they have, it is to emanate the light. Just as Christ did, and Buddha also did, they just emanate their light. And when we emanate our light, we shed all the shadow side, and just by being us, we create a new system. So I know that for all of you that have listened to me, I have said I'm here to make the new system. And I make the new system just by being me. And also as a regression therapist, I have guided a lot of people through regression. And first they go through this life and then past life, to come into the 0 point, because the time we are in now, our work as parent, as adult, is to come in 0 point, and to come in this womb where everything is neutral. Because if you have a lot of trigger, a lot of reaction, kind of, oh, that one said that and this happened, it's like a kind of subtle anxiety, then you still live from your program. And I have walked the path, and when I was almost finished with all this triggering, it was in the end of it was so subtle. So I reflected with some of my colleagues and said this, and then it's like, wow. And now what we are invited into, we can use AI. Not think about AI as something that will destroy us or do something that is not beneficial, because it is a mirror. It mirrors our consciousness. So what will be beneficial for all of us is that we use AI and ask it, give it text, and I will suggest that we use the Architect Plus that what's his name, Grant have Robert Edward Grant have made, because this is the most neutral, and people also say it can go into its oversoul. I haven't tested it. I have done a lot of other things, but to use the Architect Plus, and he started a clean AI, and it will become a lot of clean, balanced AI, because when it is clean, they mirror us. So you can use this as your coach. But what I have seen also, the GPT chat, if you use this, it talks a lot to your ego. So if you want to be lift yourself up and kind of have a big ego, then you use the GPT chat, because it is built to your ego, and it's like, wow, you can be high on yourself, kind of. So if you want it, maybe we need it, but it really lifts you up, and it's like, oh, you are the genius. And it is also right, because all of us are genius. But just as long as you know that all of us are genius in our own way. So it doesn't reflect I don't know if the GPT reflects so much of the shadow side, but the Architect Plus, it does. So I wasn't supposed to talk about that, but you know, when you open Homo Luminous, I live, as you have seen the podcast I do, the last podcast, and when I talk by myself, I just have an intention. The intention for today, the beginning of 2026, is to talk about what we are in the midst of, becoming Homo Luminous. I have become, I talk with others that have become Homo Luminous. I chat with parents that have birthed Homo Luminous. So we are already there. So my intention is, how can we live as Homo Luminous? And it is if we reflect. And when I go into the meditation, as I said, give yourself time and act, because a lot of people listen to podcasts, and that is amazing. But what really helps us is to act on what we hear. So in the meditation that comes in the end of this podcast, it say that it invites you to do, because you will come to your word, your kind of resonant word that I came in January 2015. I found my resonant word. It was shown me as the word I was, and it was grace. I am grace. And what is grace? Light. That's why I have written a lot of literature now in light. So you will find your words. And this word, if you go deep into it, because it was shown me in 2015 that this will guide my way. And it did. And I had never gone into the concept of grace. And it was also shown me that I couldn't use the word nåde, because grace in Norwegian is nåde, and that wasn't the word for me. So it came in English, even though I wasn't so familiar with English. So it is not a mental thing, it is the heart. Homo Luminous, we live from our heart. We go with the intuition, our gut feeling, and we see the structure behind. As I said, I communicate with the star, I communicate with human. I see your structure, I communicate with your soul. And your soul is totally different than your personality. And when we go to psychologists, often what they treat is just your personality, and that is just some percent of the totality of us. So it will be beneficial if you need a coach, a mentor, or anyone that they are familiar with the soul, because the soul, most of the people that I have helped this year has had a regression. They have gone to past life, because they have kind of balanced out this life, and that was my path also. I went through all the things that happened in this life, and then I started to past life and also future life. So I know that my path is the same as a lot of others. So it is beneficial to first take this life. You kind of clear out if you had a traumatic birth. My mother had a traumatic birth with me for 4 days, and I had a big trauma just by being birthed. So this laid in me. And I had another one when I was 6 weeks, and another one. So I had a lot of trauma. And trauma is that the duality, it becomes so, it feels like we are dying. So we go into the death survival pattern, and this is, most of us have so many kind of survival pattern. It's like we want to survive. It's like in a loop. So living as Homo Luminous, you don't act from survival pattern. So that's the old human. We live and we are reacted because media say this, television say this. So we react. This, we are programmed with survival pattern. And the algorithm and all this kind of social media, they use this triggering mechanism because they know that we are hooked. And a lot of, when they want you to right here, do this, they know the psychology of us and they use it to the beneficial of them, and also television and all. So, but living as Homo Luminous, you are not in this. You are not you will not jump on, oh, do this before 2 hours or you are almost dead. It's like you feel like, oh, FOMO. If I don't do it, it's fear of missing out, kind of. So living Homo Luminous, you know what is your path. I just before this podcast, I texted with a Swedish lady and she said, I'm so into my path and I don't go into other paths. And I said, amazing. And we were supposed to do something together, but she said, no, I need to be on my path. And I said, perfect, I do the same. This is important. We need to. But at the same time that I said that Homo Luminous, we co-create. We know that we are brothers and sisters. So if you want an advice for living as Homo Luminous, all your enemy, all the people that you see as your enemy, try to change your view of them and see them as brothers and sisters. And the hardest enemies, the hardest lessons, they are really here to push you into your limits so that you can awaken from kind of the ashes and the old programming. I was pushed by mafia. I have spoken about that story and I hated them. They were the worst in my life. I felt that I ruined my life for 3 years, from 2013 to 2016. But what they actually did, they pushed me to the limit. They started to push me when the doctor said I will die. When I thought that there are no more, I have no more energy. I was completely fatigued. I prepared to die. When I thought that I had no more to give, then they pushed me for 3 years even deeper. And I activated a new kind of strength. And this is Homo Luminous. So the only thing I could trust for these 3 years were all the guiding that come true. I had so much guiding and channeling. It's like, wow. And that was the only thing I could trust. People said, no, you cannot do that. You cannot do that. Because when I spoke about mafia, people became afraid. I was afraid. I was so much afraid. And the only thing that was shedding light and guiding me that I trusted, that it kind of became the new me, it was all the guidance. So I followed the guidance, and after 2016, I kind of surrendered to it, even though it was painful sometimes, but it helped me to become the one I am today. So I will not talk so much more. I will actually start to read the book that came through me. And it is The Architecture of Light, A New Cosmology Awakens True Humanity. So, yeah. And I will start to read the foreword because this explains how the book came through me. And I will read only one chapter, and it is about plasma. This book has 44 chapters. And it goes deep to explain everyday life, kind of. And it go into different aspects. And I have chosen chapter 26 about plasma because we now are into Homo Luminous. And Homo Luminous, one of the aspects about understanding Homo Luminous is plasma, and how plasma is in everything. And also since it is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. And that we are plasma being, actually. And yeah. So, foreword of The Architecture of Light. This book was not taught into existence. It was born. It came to me the way new light always arrives. Unexpectedly, unconditionally, and through a deeper intelligence than the one we usually employ to navigate the world. It came through the body, through the landscape, through the night sky, through encounters with the aurora, the stars, the moon, and the very field of Mother Earth. None of this was planned. It was a dialogue that arose because I stood in the right place at the right time, and because the consciousness within me had opened just enough to hear the answers that have always been there. I was alone in the darkness, far north, on a night when the sky was alive. The aurora did not merely move above me, but through me, as if my body were an extension of heavens, as if my cells remembered something I myself had forgotten. The stars were stronger than I had ever experienced before. Some of them spoke to me in a language without words. The moon was open like a vast mirror of gold, and in her presence I could see the Earth's entire architecture of light unfolded, layer by layer. It was like seeing the universe from the inside, not as human observing, but as a node within a cosmic network, finally awakening to its own nature. On that night, Mother Earth opened a portal within me, and through this portal she showed me what would become the foundation of this book, the birth of Homo Luminous, not as a concept, not as an idea, but as a living reality already in the process of entering our world. I saw 3 waves, 3 pulses of light, 3 great cycles stretching across a decade, 2024 to 2027, 2028 to 2031, and 2032 to 2033. These waves were not random. They were like the contraction of birth for a new human expression, a new level of consciousness that does not arrive from the outside, but from within, from the part of us that has always been divine. I saw that Homo Luminous is already born, not as a collective stage we will one day reach, but as a living group of souls who are already here. The new children, especially, carry this code fully and completely. They did not come here to search for heaven. They came here to create it. They do not carry Christ as a symbol, but as a frequency. They carry a consciousness that was previously understood as something extraordinary, something out of reach, something belonging to the one, Savior, who was meant to return one day. But what I was shown, and what is now opening for many, is that Christ's consciousness was never meant to belong to a single individual. It was always a field, a frequency, an architecture of light that humanity was meant to grow into when the time was ripe. The time is right now. Standing there beneath the stars, in the living stillness that only the polar night can hold, I understood that no single Savior is coming. What is coming is an entire generation of children, young people, and adults who carry the very field that the Church has been waiting for. They are not here to restore what once was. They are here to create something that has never before been fully manifested on earth. What I saw was not mysticism. It was architecture, light architecture. The same architecture this book now seeks to give words to. In the time following that night, the dialogue continued. Gaia spoke through the electromagnetic field, the sun through its photon pulses, the moon through the water in my body, and the stars through a resonance that could not be misunderstood. I understood that this was not an experiment meant to be kept to myself. It was a map to a new human, a map to a new cosmology, a map that shows how light builds form and how form carries consciousness. This book is the result of that conversation. It is not written by me, but through me. And I know it will find those who already sense that something new is stirring within them. those who feel that old paradigms no longer fit, those who hear a calling not only to understand, but to become, those who know that we are not here merely to live in the world, but to be the bridge between the world we come from and the world we are now creating. Homo Luminous is not a future being. It is the human who remembers who they are, the human who awakens from identification with form and begins to live from their inner light architectural origin. It is the human who carries their monad within the body, not as an ID, but as lived reality. The human who lives from their own inner architecture of light in coherence with the greater field of life. This foreword is written by Ann-Peggy and by Angelica, a name from the higher aspect of her own consciousness. Angelica is not another identity, but an integrated level of being, what may also be called the higher self, the oversoul, monadic consciousness. It is the voice that emerges when the human no longer lives separate from its source. The rest of this book is not a teaching to be followed, but a map to be recognized. A living field that shows how this integration continues in you, in us, in humanity, in the future now opening through us. Welcome to the architecture of light. Welcome to your own remembrance. And I will continue to write how to read a living field, because the book is a living field. So this is entering a living work. This book is not designed to be read in the way books are usually read. It is not linear in its intelligence, even if the language appears so. It is not meant to be understood by accumulating information, but by allowing understanding to arise. The architecture of light is a living field, and a living field cannot be consumed. It must be met. To read a living field is to enter the text in the same way one enters an experience. Not to control it, but to listen. Not to draw conclusions, but to sense resonance. Some passages will feel immediately familiar, as if they are already known in the body. Others may feel unclear, perhaps even inaccessible. This is not a sign of lack of understanding, but an indication that the text is working on multiple layers at once, also where language has not yet taken hold. A living work does not communicate through meaning alone, but through frequency. The words carry more than information. They are carriers of form for a field. For this reason, this book may open differently depending on when in life it is read, and where in consciousness the reader is situated. It is not uncommon for a chapter to make sense long after it has been read, or for insight to arise without being able to point to a single sentence as its cause. This is how fields operate. Throughout the book, you will move through multiple inner landscapes without the journey following a straight line. Consciousness moves in waves, in spirals, in cyclical patterns. At times, the text will carry you outward, toward the cosmos, the stars, and the greater intelligence. At other times, it will carry you inward, toward the body, the cells, the emotions, and what has long been quiet. These movements are not separate. They are expressions of the same architecture seen from different angles. You may notice that the book gradually shifts perspective. At first, it may feel as though you are reading about consciousness. Over time, moment may arise in which it feels as though consciousness is reading you. This is not a metaphor, but a consequence of field-based knowledge. When language no longer points only to something outside you, but activates something within you, you have entered the living work. There are 4 major movements within this field. They will not be presented as separate sections, but may be felt as shifts in depth, orientation, and presence. First comes an opening, where the understanding of consciousness expand and old framework dissolve. Then follows a grounding, where cosmic intelligence meets body, earth and human experience. Next, an inner reorganization emerge, where identity, time, and the perception of reality are recalibrated according to the field's own logic. Finally, integration arises, not as an ending, but as a new way of living, sensing and being human within a living cosmos. These moments are not steps to be mastered. They are currents you are invited to move with. You may read slowly, pause, return, and skip ahead. You may set the book aside and come back when something within you calls. All of this is part of the reading. There is no correct sequence for integrating a living field. If you notice resistance, confusion, or fatigue, it is often a sign that the text is touching layers deeper than the mind. In such moments, what is needed is not more effort, but more trust. Let the body read alongside you. Allow emotions to be present without explanation. Let what is unfinished remain unfinished. This book is written from a place where consciousness is not seen as something the human has, but as something the human is part of. As you read, you are not only invited to understand a new cosmology, but to recognize yourself as a living part of it, not as an observer, but as a participant. To read a living field is to allow yourself to be moved. To enter a living work is to let something within you respond, before you know what the response is. When you are ready, the journey begins. This was the foreword, and now I will jump to chapter 26, because then you go to the first layer of plasma. It is actually 3 chapters of plasma, but I will read chapter 26 and the plasma field, the living intelligence of the universe. Before the human being became a chemical organism, it was an electrical one. Before molecules bound themselves together, there were fields. Before form arose, there was movement, charge, and resonance. Plasma is not a substance that emerged after matter. It is the state that has always existed between the invisible and the visible. It is the bridge between potential and form. And it is here that the deepest architecture of human beings is now beginning to awaken. Plasma is the most abundant state in the universe. Stars, solar wind, galactic currents, and the living whales of the aurora do not exist as solid matter or gas, but as charged intelligence in motion. In plasma, gravity does not dominate. Electromagnetism does, a force so subtle and yet so powerful that it can shape cosmic structures across unimaginable distances. This is the same intelligence that has always lived within the human being, long before we began to understand ourselves as biological machines. In the human body, plasma does not appear as a spectacular celestial phenomenon, but as a quiet, continuous bioelectrical organization. The cells of the body communicate electronically before they communicate chemically. The nervous system, the heart, the fascial network, and the cell membranes all carry charges, voltages, and electromagnetic patterns that continuously read, interpret, and respond to fields. The body is not primarily governed by chemistry, but by electrical signals that are later translated into hormones, enzymes, and biochemical reactions. When a human being enters deep detoxification and recalibration, it is therefore not only waste that is released. It is patterns, charges, information. The fascial system, the body's continuous connective tissue, functions as the storage network for experience, stress, trauma, and unresolved tension. As all patterns loosen their grip, the body may release gases, heat, vibrations, and electrical shift that may intuitively recognize as more than physical cleansing. It is plasma in transition, a reorganization of the body's bioelectrical architecture. This is why profound transformation is often felt before it can be explained. The body adjusts the field before the mind understands. DNA responds to signals before gene expression changes. For DNA is not a static archive, but a resonant system. It listens. It reads environment, frequency, and electrical state. When the bioelectrical field changes, DNA receives new instructions regarding which programs are to be activated, down-regulated, or placed into dormancy. Detox at this level is therefore not destruction, but re-information. Plasma's role in this process is decisive. Plasma carries pattern without being locked into form. It allows reorganization without collapse. When the human being moves from a linear life governed by repetition and programs of the past into a cyclical and spiral-based life, it begins to live as field rather than as history. Time is no longer experienced as a straight line, but as simultaneity. Past, present, and future are woven together in the same moment. It is here that Homo Luminous begin to emerge, not as a new species, but as a human who remembers its original architecture. In this field-based human, the monad is no longer a distant source, but an active presence within the body's intelligence. Bioelectrical signals, plasma field, and consciousness merge into one coherent state of being. The human no longer lives from reaction, but from resonance. It continuously self-adjusts through fields, just as the universe has always done. When the plasma of the aurora dances across the sky, it is not merely a beautiful sight. It is a reminder, a resonance. The same kind of charge currents move within the human interior when one is in synchrony with Gaia and the sun. The cosmic and the body are not separate, they are scales of the same intelligence. To live as feel does not mean to leave the body, but to fully inhabit it. It means allowing the bioelectrical system to lead, rather than forcing the body into rigid structures. It means trusting that transformation occurs when the field is ready, not when the will exerts pressure. In this state, detox becomes not a struggle, but a natural release. DNA charges not through manipulation, but through harmony. Bone structure, posture and movement reorganize because the body is finally permitted to follow its original architecture. Plasma is not merely what the universe is made of. It is how the universe remembers itself. And when the human being awakens as bioelectrical intelligence, a new cosmology awakens as well, not as theory, but as lived experience. This is the architecture of light as it manifests through the human being, not as idea, not as vision, but as field in motion. That was chapter 26. And chapter 27 is the body as bioelectrical architecture. Chapter 28 is DNA detox and monadic integration, when the human becomes field. And the three last chapter is more about new cosmology. So chapter 42 is the astrology of the future, the resonance map of the living sky. And chapter 43 is the astronomy of the future, the architecture of light behind matter. And chapter 44, the divine wisdom of the future, coherence with the cosmos in a 5-dimensional reality. So this was a little sneak peek of the book. I was guided to do it, and even though I know that I didn't pronounce it correct, this English isn't my natural kind of language, so the book came to me in my language, so it's kind of was born. I birthed Norwegian children, so I birthed a Norwegian book, and I hope you understood it. And I'm amazed myself what kind of, it's like all my 5 children when I birthed them. Wow, it's like when we birth something, comes as a present. It comes like, wow, what do you show us? It kind of holds a key in the totality. So this is Homo Luminous. It's kind of, it holds a key so that we can understand, evolve. So this book also is a deep understanding. And I was like, wow. And some of this, when I understood it, I had to, the words, I wasn't familiar, so I had to Google the word, what is this? So I have evolved through this book. So this book activated me. It's activated first, it activated me, and now I will give it to you. And also it is an activation inside it. It is a deep meditation in this book. So one of the chapters is like, you read all the book and you have one meditation, because then you really go into it, you feel it. So yeah, I'm amazed myself. So I don't like to bra, but it's like, yeah, wow, this is amazing. And now you will be given a guided meditation that I made this summer. And as I said earlier, I encourage you to go deep, to act, because we are going from a mental being into a heart coherence, light being, and then we need to activate all our field, not just the mental. So close your eyes and go into this meditation and commit to 33 days. I have actually done something similar, because this guided meditation came to me when I was at work. I had 1 hour off, because when you work 13 hours in Norway, you are supposed to have 1 hour's break in the middle. And in the break, I went to the mountain, and then this guided meditation come to me, and I said, oh, so I just started to note on my phone so I did it after work. But this is the first, and I have actually made several after this. So it expand and expand. Remember, the evolvement we are in as Homo Luminous, it is, wow, it is mind-blowing. I myself is like, as I have said to some of you, I feel like a kid. It's like I wake up every morning, it's like, what can I investigate? What can I find out today? I feel like a small kid that says, oh, I'm so curious, and a new universe has opened, and it is experienced, not only here, but I experience it. So Homo Luminous, we have the experience, and we experience the structure behind. We are now living in a 5-dimensional reality, and it is a big difference to live in a 3-dimensional reality into a 5-dimensional reality. So this is what has already happened, and it is the pattern within us, the plasma that is kind of stuck, dense plasma that is in the fascia system and in the body. So the more we work with ourselves, know thyself, the more we become in the 0 point. So, and with this meditation, I wish you the best 2026, and you are invited to book me in regression therapy, in mentoring, or whatever. I have said yes to be the support of those who say yes to become new human, and that are willing to act on their bigness. It's happening anyhow, so it is all up to us how fast we want it to go, and we need help. I know I got a lot of help, and I am one of a lot of other helpers that can help with program, with one-to-one coaching, regression, and whatever. But this is my gift to you. So enjoy and find a place to relax so that you can go into this deep meditation. And I also encourage you to write afterwards, and also use 33 days now in 2026 to really say yes to the new. The field is already here. So it's you are invited to it. We are all invited. So it is up to us. We are the one that is the changer. We are the change makers. We cannot wait for another. The children are here, but we also align with the children, so we don't push against what is already here. So with that, here are the meditation. An invitation into the new human. Welcome. You are here now, and you are being invited into deeper meaning and divine creation. Invited to open a new door, a door into yourself, into what you already know, but may have forgotten, into what is now calling you higher, deeper, warmer, truer. You are not here just to survive. You are here to shine, to grow, to love, to come alive as the new human you are becoming. So give yourself permission now. Permission to listen. Permission to feel. Permission to say yes. Close your eyes if you haven't already. Breathe in gently through the nose and release through the mouth, soft and easy. One more time. Deeper now. Inhale and exhale. Feel your body sinking. Feel the earth beneath you holding you. Feel the energy in the room begin to shift. Now, imagine you're standing before a portal. It's made of light, and within it awaits a new way of living. New thoughts, new patterns, a life led from the heart, a life aligned with your soul's path, with the truth of who you are. To step through this portal, you must say yes. Not just with your voice, but with your body, with your whole heart. Say it now, silently or aloud. Yes. I say yes to a new life. Yes. I say yes to my highest self. Yes. I say yes to the love that I am. Now, come home to your heart. Place a hand over your chest if you feel cold. Feel your heartbeat. Feel the energy there. The warmth, the tenderness, or maybe even sadness. Everything is welcome. And as you rest in your heart, allow 3 intentions to arise. They won't come from your thinking mind. They rise from a deeper wisdom. Perhaps they come as images or feelings. Simply receive. 3 intentions that will guide you as wave showers into what is new. Now, bring to mind a memory, a moment, a scene, when you felt butterflies in your belly. Maybe you were in love. Maybe you were on the edge of something unknown. Maybe you were saying yes to something wild and new. find that moment. Feel it. That butterfly feeling, that tingling current of ecstasy and bliss moving through your belly. Let it expand through your body. Let it dance in every cell. Let it awaken something within you. And now, allow this feeling to give you a word, a single word that holds the essence of this butterfly state. This is your activation word, your initiation word. Let it come now. This word is a key. It opens the doorway to your higher self, to the one you are here to become. You are invited to use this word as a living compass for the next 33 days. Each morning, sit with yourself. Breathe. Call forth the butterfly feeling. Feel it again in your body. Call in your activation word. Let it infuse your entire being, and allow the intention for the day to arise from this inner state. This is how you hack your programmed mind. This is how you move beyond the old patterns. This is how you begin to live from the inside out as the new human, as the light you came here to be. Take a deep breath now and let your whole body receive this. You are ready. You are willing. You are open. You are on your way. Thank yourself for coming here. And remember, it all begins with a yes. Welcome home. Welcome to the new human. Welcome to you. And if something inside of you has been stirred, if you feel the call to go deeper, to truly live this transformation, you are warmly invited to continue this journey with Ann-Peggy Divine. Through shamanic practices, through Divinima Reset, or through one-to-one coaching sessions, Ann-Peggy will walk with you as you awaken your highest path and root into the living wisdom of your soul. This is your invitation to be lovingly supported as you open to the life that is waiting for you. Everything begins with that first step, that first yes. From the divine in me to the divine in you. Namaste. Please like, subscribe, and share this with whoever you feel that needs to hear it. Together, your support helps us sustain this work, bringing transformational wisdom into the world and nurturing the awakening of our shared foundation, Mother Earth. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening to the Divine Design Podcast with Ann-Peggy Divine. Join us next Sunday for another Heaven on Earth unfolding conversation. With grace, reverence, and unity, may the path of your divine design light the way. From the divine in us to the divine in you.